The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Radar Roy. I have Leon, the blinder dude. He's changing his name to the blinder guy. He'll explain a little bit about that here in a few minutes. I'm really excited about the webinar tonight. We have 507 people on the line. Before I get started, please type in if you could hear me and see my screen. You should see a little screen here with the blinder laser jammer overlaid in Radar Busters. Okay, you can. We got Mike Brackett. Yep, Michael Whalen. I can see and hear you both fine. Great, because I've done these before and I forgot to turn the screen on or I forgot to turn my mic on, and then somebody calls me on the phone. Hey, Roy, you messed up. I'm really excited tonight. A couple announcements before we kind of get started here with the blinder guy. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, I'm back. Hey Needle bought Radar Busters, Radar Detector Net, a bunch of my websites back in 2007. And I kind of, retired, if you might say. I was a consultant for them, and things just didn't go right for them. They just really never really were able to grasp the whole radar detector thing. And here earlier this year, they gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. And we closed on Radar Busters about 3 weeks ago. And in all honesty, Leon knows, and the guys that have worked with me know. I've been working maybe about 18, 20 hours a night or day, I should say, putting together this new website, radarbusters.com. Really would appreciate any comments you have on it. Shoot me an email out. Show you some special features. Also, we're going to be doing a relaunch of radardetector.net. I'll spend a little time sharing some information about what we're going to be doing on that. Also, kind of really getting back in. We're going to be shooting some new videos, getting some really new content out there. The bottom line, and something I'm excited about, I don't know anybody that has ever done this in the industry, but, at least once a month, have a kind of a call-in. Call it we could do this with YouTube. I personally like using GoToWebinar because I have an account with GoToWebinar, and for myself, it's a lot easier doing this. But what we'd like to do here, starting this off at least once a month, have a little broadcast like this during the evening, inviting people like Leon, the Veil guy, personalities in the manufacturers and things like that. And hopefully, that we'll have some kind of giveaways. I see, please, type in where you're from. Well, we got Michael Newland from Albuquerque. We have Chris from Raleigh, North Carolina on the call tonight. But again, we're like 500 people. I'm looking at Tucson, right down the street from me. All right, Raleigh, North Carolina. Tim McCracken. Lee Middleton from New Jersey. Tim, just amazing. I haven't seen anybody yet from outside of the USA, but I'm sure there's a few people on here. Again, we got 507 people on the call tonight. Anyway, let me just talk a little bit about Radar Busters, and then we'll start this thing off. Again, this is our new website, radarbusters.com. What we're doing a little different here. Now, if you're into market of buying anything as far as a new radar detector, a laser jammer, before you check out, I really recommend, it's going to save you some money. Kind of go to this page. It's our Save 10% Now page. Just put your name and email address, and you'll get a personal email from me with a discount code. It's going to save you 10%. Now, I really can't mention because of requirements that the manufacturers have, which ones you can get at a discount. Otherwise, they'll pull my distributorship or my being an authorized dealer away, but you can kind of get an idea, okay? You're going to save some money by doing that. Also, we really built up the help guide section here. We have all brand new articles on here. Radar detecting, testing and reviews, how I do my reviews. Also something we did here a little different also. We also have an area in here where you could, just like a blog, kind of go in there and leave comments. And so, guys, if you do, come visit our website. I'm trying to make this as interactive as I possibly can. Make it very friendly, community-wise, and and just kind of be out there and helping you guys, find some of the products that you might like to have, and try to help you avoid getting speeding tickets. And then again, Radar, this is our Facebook page. We're going to be becoming more involved on Facebook as we move on. Right now, the link is, I'll just put this in here. So if you have any questions, this is another way tonight if you want to post any questions, because we'll be going in there and looking at questions. Let me type it in here. Of course, it won't work now. Let me grab this link here so I can type it into the chat box. There we go. So if you have any questions, you can post them right underneath this little posting here. Now, radardetector.net, it was a very, very popular forum because, it was basically, it just, no better words for it. Nobody was really on there monitoring since we sold it in 2007. So anyway, we're going to be doing a complete redesign on that. We're going to be looking for some moderators, some admins, and we're going to do something a little different. Those people that do become moderators or admins, if you're interested in, we're going to be coming out with some sort of an affiliate type of deal, where actually, if how often, you can make extra money, and how much money you make is going to be dependent on how active you are on the forum. We're going to be looking about another month out on that, and it's going to be part of our affiliate program. So anyway, if that's something, if you're interested in becoming a moderator or an admin, please email me. My email is radarroy@radarbusters.com. Now I'm really excited. Our first guest, I guess you might say, is Leon, the blind, who used to be called the Blinder Dude.
It's still Blinder Dude.
Still Blinder Dude, okay, but you've also been going by the Blinder Guy. I know that, because that's what
it's out there.
It's out there. Anyway, Leon, you're out there in West Palm Beach, Florida. You have the U.S. distributorship for Blinder, and we got tons and tons of questions, and we'll also be giving a Blinder laser jammer. I should say you'll be giving away a Blinder laser jammer at the end of the call, and you'll be selecting who the lucky person is. Now, let me give you a little hint, guys. The way that if you were on our Escort webinar here a couple months ago, or any of my other previous calls, you got to participate. If you just if you're just going to sign up for it and you're not going to ask any questions, not going to get involved in it, we're not going to know you're here. We're not going to know to pick you. So ask a question, and don't ask a silly question. I shouldn't say that. No question's silly, but be reasonable in what you ask. And we'll just kind of go through the list here of questions. So anyway, Leon, you want to just kind of give a little brief introduction about your company, where you're at, what you do, and how you got started with Blinder?
Well, let me go back and say congratulations on the repurchase of Radar Busters. I'm glad to see it'll come back into the personal that it was. Mm-hmm. We all know what happened. Let's move on from there. Yeah. But, it's good to see you back.
Thank you, Leon.
I think these webinars and the videos and the interactive of Radar Busters it'll just start back again where it was, where it left off. And there's all kinds of good stuff that you can talk about these days. Yeah. All kinds of new stuff, all kinds of new laser guns. The industry's starting to move.
Okay.
But thanks for having me on. I think it's good for the industry to be able to communicate just on a regular basis with the different people that are out there, and see what the community wants, to see what the community's questions are, and to keep it on an open forum is awesome.
We're keeping everybody honest. And Leon, you made a really interesting comment to me while we were waiting. And that was when you're developing your current laser jammer, your Blinder 905. You made a very interesting comment to me, and that was basically you came up with the design, the development, and things because this is what people were telling you or calling you up, and sending emails. These were things people wanted in their Blinder 905. So this is just basically another channel that we're enabling for you, a manufacturer, so you can hear from the community what they're asking for. So again, guys, if there's something you like to see in the blinder, type it in. Now, we might not get to every question in here, okay? We got 500 people on here. I'm sure we're going to have a couple thousand questions, but what we do after this call, every question that you're going to be asked is going to be put into an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm going to give that to Leon, and Leon's going to be able to go through that, and then if there's something in there you want him to ask personally or whatever, like he'll get that, and he'll email that to you. So Leon, tell us a little bit about your, I remember when I started the industry, that was way back in 1995. I remember your first laser jammer was the M5, if I recall, right?
The M06. The
M06, there you go, the M06.
M06.
And the
no alarm.
Yeah, the best way to describe it, Leon, there was no brain to it. All it was a it just transmitted light on the near infrared frequency, because at that time, laser guns per se didn't have a brain. They just, threw out light, and you threw out, you just had to have a brighter flashlight than the laser jammers, or the laser guns, I should say. Well, because, technology's ever changing, it's a cat and mouse game, let's be honest. You come up with something to defeat them, the laser manufacturers, they come back with something to defeat you. And now, because of that, I remember the Laser Atlanta. That was way back in what? That was in about 2005.
2000, yeah, 2004, 2005.
I remember your struggles with the Laser Atlanta because of stealth mode. And now the Dragon Eye, and this new Stalker laser gun. So I know you got some updates on that. So, but anyway, let's talk a little bit. Let's get down to the very basics, Leon, and just kind of explain to the audience tonight, for some of the people that might not know exactly what does your product do.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is what irritates me is when people talk about laser, and even news broadcasts, they talk about laser and radar, and they still don't know the difference between laser and radar. Uh-huh. And they're showing and saying radar. They were out giving radar speeding tickets when they're showing a Pro Laser 3, and I'm like, that's a laser gun. That has nothing to do with radar. So the big thing is, just explaining to people the difference between when they see an officer with a radar unit or a laser unit. What's the difference? And we all know radar detector. I suggest running a really good radar detector, and I'm sure you can help us all out with those. But laser, you have to have a jammer. A laser detector is useless.
And being that now, Leon, you're just really mostly involved in the laser jamming industry, so people have to have some kind of idea that there's such a device. With myself being involved, in the radar detector niche, it's basically every day I get a phone call from somebody. I think my radar detector is broken because I saw some guy looks like this on the screen here, standing out in the middle of the road or sitting in his car with a laser gun, and he was shooting my car. My radar detector had never gone off. So so we wrote a little article on that. So radar basically transmits RF, radio frequency. You got your X band, your K band, your KA band here in the United States. X band isn't used that often. Now laser transmits light on the near infrared frequency, and the newer laser guns come out with a pulse rate, and your laser jammer, the blinder, is able to detect that pulse rate, identify the type of gun, and come out with the corresponding jamming sequence. Would I be correct in saying that, Leon?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It learns the sequence coming in and sends the correct sequence to jam the signal. We've started here the beginning in '99. I really got involved in 2001, and then it started to roll from there. But I mean, everything stayed pretty quiet, and you have custom LTI, Stalker, Laser Atlanta, but custom has Custom Pro 2, Custom Pro 3, now the new Custom Pro 4, the Pro Light. Stalker has the LZ1. You know, they have the new XLR. It's starting to move a little bit. The technology's changed a little bit, and it took us from the M10, M20, M25, and M27, which were all an LED-based unit for the jamming. It took us into the new laser diode, the 905, HP 905. It's taken us into the now using the laser diode. I watched the team in Denmark when people said there's no way that he can jam that laser gun with those LEDs, and he did it for a long time. Yeah. One thing about the guys in Denmark is when they say something and they're talking about it, and it might not be in my time frame, and it might not be in everybody's time frame, but they do follow. They follow through, and they're. I put it to Torben as the other day. It's like the tortoise and the hare. It's like they're always there. They're always right there. You know. So I trust.
Both industries move extremely fast, and one thing I don't want to talk down about any other manufacturer or any other company, but you're very particular about when an update comes out because of some other, you want to make sure it's going to work. So that people don't have to reprogram their gun or it's going to fail. I mean, you go through quite a bit of beta testing. In fact, before it goes out into final, I think probably about 2 weeks before it goes into final, you give it to me to play around with.
That's it. I mean, we try and beta test and try and get the general public involved and see. I mean, everybody can't be involved, but it has to be real world tested. I mean, when you're just running them on the bench and running them in the, it has to be out in the real. It has to have the sunlight. It has to have the reflection. It has to have, because you're at a fine line with the false alerts. You go down the street with a unit that's going to false alert all the time, it's not going to be used. You're not going to sell any.
Now, Leon, share with our audience this evening what laser guns your 905 is currently jamming. I know when we were out here, we did the test here, what was it, about 2 months ago? We had 2 Dragon Eyes. Now, guys, just so you know, maybe I could go into a little bit better. I know of 4 Dragon Eye algorithms, and we had 2 of them. Leon, I understand you recently got another hold of another gun, a 3rd gun, or can you share that with us?
I have 7. I want to say 7.
7 now.
I've seen a gun labeled with a certain software and another gun labeled with the same software shooting 2 different pulses. So shooting 2 different pulse rates. So it's just there's a new player in the game, and he's trying to make a name for himself with an unjammable laser gun, and more power to him. I mean, he's shaking up the industry, and LTI I think followed suit, and now Stalker's following suit, and the industry's changing a little bit, and you have to stay. You
got it. Now, Leon, the Dragon Eye. Now we tested it here. You jammed 2 of their guns. Have you added a 3rd, or have you added a 4th? Where are you at with Dragon Eye? Because I know we have questions on that.
I was talking to Denmark and the team over there, and I believe that we're right there with another update. I know they're working on a new update. I know that they've been in Germany. I know they're dealing with the Poliscan. That gun over because it's sold here for the U.S. guns. The European market, overseas market, is a totally different beast. So this product works here and we have software made for over there. So they have to keep, they're trying to keep everyone happy.
Okay. Now the Stalker, you mentioned the Stalker. You want to talk a little bit about that? When are you coming out with the, or when do you plan, when do you see that coming out?
After after 15 years of doing this, I can't put a date on it. I mean, I know they're working as hard as they can over there, and I know that because we've seen it happen. You change one, or you add a pulse rate, or you add a sequence, and you better go back and check every other sequence down the line.
I've seen that happen with some other gun, some other laser jammers that were out.
It's happened a couple times. It happened not only to us, but other
companies.
jammer manufacturers.
And that's why you put them out on beta tests. That's why you give them to me, so we run out there on the runway and we test everything out too.
You have to. You have to, because there's so many different things going on nowadays, and you just keep opening the game, and you have to be careful.
Okay, Leon, we got a bunch of questions here from our audience. I want to get to many of them as I can. So anyway, I'm going to open some of these emails here. Okay, that's an old one. Okay, this is from Russell. And Russell's question is, if the radar gun is pinpoint accurate, why would the police officer use the device not knowing you're jamming? Okay, so basically his question is, if a police officer is shooting you with his laser gun, why would the officer, and you're jamming him, wouldn't the officer know that you're jamming him?
The whole thing takes probably about 5. I mean, if you're going 85, 90 miles an hour, our speed limit's 70 here.
Yeah.
Even if you're going 20 over in a 45, it all happens so quickly that you have to be steady. When we go and test with the different laser guns, I have to sometimes have somebody rest the laser gun on something just to be able to get a speed reading on any car with or without a jammer. Mm-hmm. So you have to be kind of accurate with the laser gun. Mm-hmm. And then, every different car is going to come up with a different zone, I guess you will. Some cars are easier to pick up. Some cars are harder to pick up. Some colors are easier to pick up. White and silver make a reflective surface, where the dark cars, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But you only have a few seconds before you're past the officer, and he's shooting the next car.
Let me kind of add a little something to that, because I'm coming from law enforcement. I was trained in laser enforcement. I was an instructor for both radar and laser. Typically, when an officer shoots you with a laser gun, and I think you mentioned it, well, I call it target acquisition. It takes, an officer is going to point his laser gun at you. It's going to take maybe a second or two, depending how steady his hand is, to get proper target acquisition. And at that point, when it's steady, then he's getting the signal back. Now, in the meantime, while he's trying to acquire target acquisition, your laser jammer is already going off. This is buying you time. Oh, okay, to slow down. And what I personally like doing is programming my laser jammer to auto shut off in about 4 or 5 seconds. And,
absolutely.
So, Leon, how do you go about, now I know once people get their blinder, that it's not programmed that way out of the box. So can you explain to people how they could go about programming their blinder so they could have it auto shut off?
We tried a couple of different ways. We've shipped them full jam. We've shipped them with 5 seconds. Right now, everything's shipping full jam.
Yeah.
When we started shipping them with 5 seconds, people started testing them. So everything gets shipped full jam now.
Yes.
When you register, when you purchase the blinder, you get it. You register online. It'll take you. You can download the blinder update tool to your computer, It's simple. I can do it. On that update
Let
tool.
me tell you that it took Leon 15 minutes to figure out how to hook up his webcam. All right.
There you go. Okay. I had to call my kid in to hook up the webcam. Let's get that straight. No, the update tool is simple. There's you can the jamming time, which I don't want anybody fumbling around trying to turn the system off, thinking, oh, I have to turn it off. Set it for you can set it in that update tool. You can set it for the amount of time that you need, or you can use full jam. It's up to you. In that update tool, you can use the CPU speaker. We've added the LED with the small piezo speaker that you can hide. You can check that off, and that's where you also go for your updates.
Okay.
When there's an update to the software and we're going to add the new guns, it's pretty easy to do. Probably the whole thing, all you have to do is hook up the CPU. The whole thing's going to take you 10-15 minutes.
Cool. Leon, I got a question here from Michael Newland. He says, hello, Leon. Any suggestions how to deal with laser false alerts? He mostly gets them in the early morning or evening while driving into the sun. He lives at a 4,000-foot elevation. It's a daily occurrence. And he's asking, is it due because of the high elevation, or what is it?
I know Mike. I know Mike. He's a customer from way back. Definitely, Mike, update to the last update that Blinder released, and then also you can see in that update tool the unknown guns and some of these European guns. Don't get rid of those. Don't check those off. Leave those alone because they're not here and you don't need them, and that will bring in some extra false alerts that you don't need.
Okay, let's go over here to Facebook because we got a bunch of Facebook questions coming in, and we got them coming in on. We got emails coming in with people asking questions. We have them coming in from GoToWebinar, and we have them coming in from Facebook. So we have a bunch of questions, and it'll probably run a little bit over an hour. And again, we'll announce who the winner is at the end of this call. Actually, Leon's going to announce it because he's taking names. Ricky Vutin, I think is how you pronounce it. Leon, I know you're familiar with the Veil and the Veil guy. The question is, should you use Veil with your blinder?
I do. We talked about earlier when we were waiting for this thing to start, we talked about where people were asking, do you need 2 heads? Do you need 3 heads? Do you need 4 heads? And I told you, Roy, I drive an F-150, a 2010 F-150, a little bit of chrome in the front, big giant headlights. With the 7 Series, I ran 4 heads. With the 905, I replaced it with 4 heads, so I used the quad. But when we're testing, I'll take and tape off the 2 lower heads, and I'm fine with 2 heads. When you get in close, the officer can start targeting a plate. He can start targeting a lower fog light, something like that. That's when I would use Veil to cover that outside fog light, to cover definitely cover the plate cover. I like to apply the Veil on a plate cover, and then use it over the plate.
Okay.
Hey, any extra protection, any extra defense, I'm for.
Oh yeah, a black bra on your hood.
The same.
We do, especially if you have a white vehicle.
Any little bit's gonna help.
Any little bit. Lucky has a family emergency. Will he be still available for the giveaway? Well, Leon's going to be up to Leon. Leon's going to be picking them, but Leon's writing down your name, Lucky. Andrew McCoon, waiting to hear about firmware. When will it be released to address these newer guns? I think, Leon, you kind of went through that a little bit, but right now there's no firm date that it's coming out soon.
Yeah, They won't. And this is something from the beginning that Denmark is very strict on following through with everything, so that when I get it here, it's untouchable. I mean, it's flawless. You
Yeah.
know that it works. I don't have to worry about it. That's one thing I can say about Denmark is the returns it's non-existent.
Yeah.
You know.
And I can say the last beta test I was involved in was about 6 weeks ago, and well, anyway, 6 weeks ago I had a beta test. I'm not going to ask you where you're at with that, Leon. I just gave you my thoughts on it. Jeff Ellman, should I shut out POP in South Florida, Nevada, Utah? How many laser guns FHP, Florida Highway Patrol, now have versus radar? Well, first off, POP, I call POP as poop, actually.
I was gonna let you take that one.
Yeah, I call POP poop. In fact, that's what I say. If you go to the POP radar detectors, POP is poop. You have better chance of winning millions than Mega Bucks lottery. Nevada's, I think, the only, well, it's 3 states, Iowa, Oregon, and Nevada, that only have the contract with MPH Industries. I personally don't worry about POP, and an officer cannot write you a citation if he's using POP because it's inaccurate. It's used for an estimation of speed. And let me go over here. I got another question that was just emailed to me 5 seconds ago.
He said something about FHP too. I mean, if you want to hit on FHP.
You live in Florida. That's a good question. Leon, Florida Highway Patrol, how many laser guns does the Florida Highway have compared to radar?
New contracts across the board. We used to never see FHP. FHP was constant KA, sitting on the side of the road. You had 3 miles to slow down. You had your alert. You had plenty of time. They're now using, FHP is now using both I-95, I-75, so East and West Coast, all using, I'm seeing a lot of Custom Pro. I see a lot of the Pro Light, and I'll see a lot of the LTI. Mm-hmm. We don't see too many stalkers on the East Coast. Stalkers got contracts more middle of the country and on the West Coast. LTI, I think probably Custom probably pushes the most guns, then LTI, Stalker, and then Laser Atlanta.
Okay. We got a bunch of questions here, Leon, about how to install your laser jammer, best head placement and stuff like that. I know we're not going to get to all of them, but for those of you that have questions, we do have a link on our website. This is a brand new article we just published this week. I'll post it in here, so I'll post it into the chat box. And what we go into, some tips on how to install your laser jammer. Leon, be real honest with you, I did this page because, we had some people just not really understand the manuals that from the, not only blaming you, from some of the other manufacturers too. So this was an install that one of our clients had recently installed, and he was so kind to take some pictures on that. So anyway, there's some pictures on laser, how to install your laser jammer. Question here, Leon, if you could basically pick 3 things. This is a question from Norris Pike. Norris is in Greenwich, New York.
I know. Is it Morris or Norris?
Everybody that's asking questions. All right, I gotta ask somebody you don't know.
I've been around. We've been around, man. I know these guys. They've been. I know Morris. He's been around. He runs. He's gone from the M27. Now he's at the 905, and these guys every day they use their jammer, and every day on the way to work they're getting lit up.
Yeah.
So it's saving these guys. I've talked to them about multiple saves on, just become aware of your surroundings, slow down to legal speed, and go on about your business.
Leon, I'm going to rephrase his question a little differently, and I want you to think about this for a little bit. if there were three differentiators that set the blinder apart from any of your competitors, what would those three differentiators be?
I think number one is the team in Denmark. Um, you know, they actually listen to what goes on over here. They actually listening to these forums. They you know, when RDNet was hot and heavy, it was, I mean, it's a pure information feed for us. They the time frame for this stuff, everybody wants it immediately. I mean, right now the generation is immediate gratification, you know, just immediate, and it's starting to move quicker. And when these guys, when it comes out, it works, and it works well. And number three, that's going to fall back on me with customer service. I will answer the phone at 9 o'clock at night. I will answer the phone on the weekends. I'll meet you out on I-95 right off of exit 101, and we'll test your system and see, just, you know, because it is, I mean, people want to know,
Sure.
does this thing really work, you know?
And I know I'm looking at some of the people here on they're asking questions, like Mike Brackett. He lives up in New River. Those of you that do live out here in Arizona, you know, Mike's been out to my home a number of times, and we've tested Mike's stuff with a few other people here. If you're out here in Arizona, you know, you know, you're able to come out, you know, on a weekend or something like that, you know, I'd be happy to shoot your laser gun. Just schedule it. I just don't want you to show up unannounced, because we live out here on I might be taking off and hitting your plane. Anyway, I got a question here from Tom Malone. How important is it to level your laser jammer? And that really comes down to an install question, but I see a lot of people asking that. So how important is that, Leon?
It's critical. When we started this, you know, the heads were the M10. When I really started with the heads were, you know, 4 inches, 2 inches deep, and 3/4 inch. They weren't as easy to fit in the grill as the 905. But I would go out to some of my installers, some of your local audio video shops, and the heads would be right into the ground, or straight up in the air, or they follow the contour of the car to where the heads are going out to the side of the road, and the laser gun's coming straight down the middle of the car.
Mm-hmm.
So you just missed the shot. And if you're looking into the ground or looking out to the sides of the road, the blinder, you know, you're missing the shot. So level and install is as much as important as the system itself. I mean, if you put your blinder behind, if you put any laser jammer behind anything, I see people with them behind the grill. It's a beam of light. If you miss the beam of light coming in, you're definitely not sending a beam of light going out. It's the most important thing you could do, is to level up your system. I mean, it's not rocket science, but, you know, keep them. Just remember, it's just like a set of eyes trying to find that target down the road.
Now, I apologize, guys. I did screw up. I got 4 monitors on this computer, and I had the wrong monitor on. So anyway, this is the article on how to use your laser jammer. So I'll just cut a couple link here. Those of you that might want to read it a little bit later. And let's see. Let's go through some of these other questions. I have a number of questions here. I think one was from Russell Watson. Anyway, I seen the question. Basically, and I'll look for it to get the right name. He lives in an area, I believe it was in South Carolina or North Carolina, where the police are shooting from an overpass. And question about, you know, overhead shots. How does the blinder work doing that? Would you recommend installing them differently, because if that's the most prevalent way you're being shot?
I still say level and straight to the road. You know, at those far shots on an overpass, overpass shots are rare. Do they use them? Absolutely. Have I seen them? Absolutely. Um, but you're so far away from him that their beam is the biggest, easier to detect, and our beam is the biggest, easier to defend. So those shots, I really wouldn't be worried about. There's we don't have them here, but it will be. They will come over from overseas. In Europe now, they use the cameras on the side of the road. It's coming, but they're not here yet. So that's the only time where you actually have to move the jammer to maybe see something on the side of the road.
Okay, I'm going to answer these questions real quick here because I know the answers to them, Leon. Question from James R. If you want to write down his name. Are firmware updates free, and will your device protect me from all laser threats? Yeah, unlike some other companies where you have to, I'm not going to go there. But anyway,
No good.
yeah, you buy a blinder, you'll have the firmware updates for that blinder as long as they keep the updates coming. Am I correct on that? You don't have to go and get a subscription, correct, Leon?
No. They basically, you register the product and you're in the database, and they send the updates to you. They'll send you, an update. Then you go to the update tool, hook up the CPU, and load the new software.
Does it protect you against all laser threats? I'm going to say probably a majority of the laser threats. There's always kind of maybe a screwy laser gun that's going to get in there. Right now, the Stalker, the new Stalker gun, you're coming out with the update for. It's not available yet, but when it does come out, you'll be able to.
We have the XLR, and I think this next update will cover an XLR, and another Dragon will be the next update. That coming from these guys, and I hear everything positive. Everything, the phone call last week and the phone call today was very upbeat, and these guys, that when I can hear it in the tone, that they're excited about it. So that's a good thing.
Okay, blinders, man. This is a question from Steve Patrick. If you want to write down his name, Leon, he's asking where the blinder is manufactured. Is manufactured in Denmark. Am I correct on that, Leon?
I know the software, and I can't say it's manufactured in Denmark. I know he was using some places over in Poland, and I know before it was in Sweden. So I've never been over there. One day I think I'm going to travel over there and see the setup that they have over there. I know the engineers, and I know the team of engineers that he has. They're just they enjoy this stuff. They like this stuff.
Yeah.
This is their gig. This is how they get their kicks.
Yeah. I have a question from Rob Visco. Rob I'm assuming he lives in Massachusetts, because his question is, does the blinder block the latest laser guns the Massachusetts State Police are using? I was told it would not block it. Rob, the last time I was out there, and it wasn't that long ago, about 8 months ago, I saw that they were using the LTI laser guns. I don't know if they're using anything newer than that. And Leon, I'm correct in saying that, as far as we know, that all of your LTI guns are covered with your blinder, correct?
Right. The new True Speed S was not a problem. That was a tricky little gun when it
First came out. Yeah, when it first came out, it wasn't. But now that you got the new update, so Rob.
And I think that's what they're using.
Yeah, they have the same. They have the contract with LTI, unless they just changed it here, because I know a trooper out there. And I'll be honest with you, some of my best customers have always been cops, which is kind of neat, because I can pick their brain. David, yeah.
They like it. That's what they like. That's what gives them their kicks.
Okay, how effective are laser jammers? This is a question from Aaron. He's a fence sitter, I'm assuming. He's been looking at them for a while. He's been trying to make a decision whether he should buy one. How effective are they? That's why I'm going to answer that question for myself is, we have now I know my screen's working. Hopefully it's working. We were out here, Leon was out here about 2 months ago, and we did the laser test and review. It was with the Escort and with the Blinder laser interceptor. Because of some scheduling problems, they were not able to come out here. But we have video right here, and you could actually see them in the video. We ran them up, and you could see them jamming to gun. You could see what guns they did jam. This is at least my latest test that's out there. Social network is Tim is saying, hey, this is great. He really likes, good for word of mouth, seeing our smiley faces and exactly, what we look like. How many? You got questions a lot about back laser jammer heads, Leon. First off, somebody's made a comment. Why don't you sell jammer heads for the back? Well, you do. It's not like the older Escorts where you got one that was specifically made for a back license plate. If you need to have front and rear protection, and if you have a passenger car, you typically would buy a quad. But anyway, Leon, how many for a typical car? How many heads to the front and how many heads to the back are best? This is a question from Greg Beck.
Yeah, the dual is probably the most popular. 2 front heads. You need 2 front heads. All of the shots are going to come from the front. Until 3-4 years ago, the rear shots were rare. I mean, it's very rare that they're going to shoot you in the back and chase you down for the speeding ticket. Usually they're going to light you up from the front. They already have their lights on. When you get up over the hill or around the corner, you already realize you got a ticket. But nowadays, the on-ramps to the interstates, they're sitting there and they get you as you go past. Most of my shots that I've seen from the rear are right at the tag because they're the closest you're ever going to be to them. Mm-hmm. The beam is very small. Our suggestion is if you put 2 heads on top of each other, it's not going to give you double power.
No.
If you move the heads 20 inches apart from each other, it's going to give you different surface area that it's going to, more surface area that it's going to cover.
And the way I explain it, Leon, and the way I do my installs is, before I stand in front of the car or back of the car and I look for the most reflective areas. I mean, you look at the car, you use your eyeballs. Okay,
yeah.
There's a big chrome bumper here, or there's a big bright light here. Those are going to be the spots that are most reflective. So you try to get your jammer heads to that area. 18 at 500 feet, it's 18 inches at 500 feet. I'm sure somebody that's smarter than me can figure out how many inches it is at 100 feet or 200, but I don't know. Now, how easy?
We test that. We test some of that stuff at close range. We try and play off the car and roof of the car and outside low and away outside shot. Because put it this way, I mean, shooting straight down the middle of the car, even some of the not so good jammers can give you some effect. Okay. But when you have actually double the coverage in the middle of the car with the 2 heads.
Okay.
But in the back, if it's a harder install, only because you don't have the places you have to spread them at least like 20 inches apart. That 20 inches apart.
Number of questions here about how easy is the blinder to update. The one that caught my eye is Timothy Kennedy. If you'd like to write down his name, Leon. He's asking this question. So how easy? What do you do? How do you update this damn thing? How easy is it?
That's back to that update tool from Blinder. When you purchased it, you registered the product online. You go to the update tool. All it is plug the CPU. Either take the CPU from the car to the computer, or take the computer to the car, plug in the CPU. The update will take about 2 minutes. The you want to go in and check how many heads you have. Again, you could go in there and set if you want the speaker, if you want voice, or if you want the buzzer LED. You could set the jamming time. Boom, 10 minutes, you're back out in the car.
And
So
I'm
it's,
glad
it's
you
not,
brought that up because a lot of people don't know this, Leon. I'm going to bring this up real quick because you do have accessories for the blinder. A lot of people don't realize that. You know, you could get the blinder itself, but here's the if you want to put like a little LED light inside your, like on my Harley Davidson, I'm using this. This is a separate power switch if you need it. So we sell the parts to a blinder. So if you buy, and basically if you buy a dual and you find out down the road you want to update to a triple or a quad, you know, you don't have to go out and buy a whole new blinder system. You can buy this part separately. You can buy the LED and speaker power cable separately. I have a question here from Donald Bergquist, Bergquist. Are laser jammers legal in all states? I'm just going to share this page here with you.
I think I saw it. Yeah, there it is. I haven't seen that in a while. I haven't seen that page in a while.
Well, yeah, you haven't seen this page in a while, since 2007, and it's updated. That's the states that laser jammers are legal in: California, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is, you know, if you're using a laser jammer in those states, you know, just be responsible. Don't jam to gun is what I tell everybody. You program it so it's going to shut off in, you know, a reasonable amount of time, 4 or 5 seconds. We spoke a little bit earlier about the difficulties officer has in, you know, target acquisition. So anyway, and HP Lancer is asking the same question. If you want to write down HP's thing there, because I stole his question away from him. We have Santo Fata, I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name. Are there any settings somebody should use differently if they're in Canada than from the USA?
No, not that I've seen as far as gun use up there. They haven't added anything that is different than the U.S. software.
Okay. Okay. So for some reason, somebody was seeing a Skype box with Blake. So I don't know why that. Anyway, hopefully you're seeing the right screen. I'm not.
Go back to the legality, Roy. I mean, it's not. It's giving you a little bit of time to slow down. You know, it's you know, you hear the alarm go off, pay attention to what's going on, grab the steering wheel because he's coming up on the right or he or she is coming up on the right or the left of you,
Right.
and give them the respect they deserve. It's not just a, you know, 135 and a 65. And believe me, I get those people calling, and that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
This is it's going to give you your warning. It's going to give you enough time to legally slow down, get down to a legal speed, and go on about your business.
Leon, this is a question from Michael Wayland. I think he asked a question earlier too. Any plans from Denmark or any other aftermarket companies for a wireless Bluetooth module for the 905s?
I've talked to the guys in Denmark, and any of this. I mean, you know, I take information from the forum, Roy. I take information from you directly. Anything that we can add that we can put on the table is a possibility. You know, I can't say that we can add everything in there. You know, in some ways, you know, there's too many features. I personally, I want a really good laser jammer. And focus on the really good laser jammer. But you know, you're starting to add Bluetooth and just smartphones and all that good stuff. So there's a bunch of possibilities that we can open up Blinder to.
Okay. This is a comment from Brian Linke. He's from North Jersey. He uses a red line band segmented with Vail. He's been looking into a laser jammer, a lot of different forms. Sees a lot of different options with the Dragon Eye. Is the Blinder working on new firmware updates to compete with these newer guns? Yes, we mentioned that. Let it ready. And do you see the Blinder 905 becoming obsolete anytime soon?
I don't. You know, it's. I like the size of the heads. I think we're right on track there. Um, do I? Do, the technology nowadays, it's constantly changing. And I hate to say things are throwaway, but more and more things are becoming throwaway, and you have to keep up. I say to the team in Denmark, do what you have to do to make the next great laser jammer. You know, and they follow suit for me. So they've done it so far. I've watched them struggle. I've watched them come a long way. I've watched them you know, ups and downs over the years. We've had good test results. We've had poor test results. It just it's a constant. That's why
Well,
they're always there.
yeah, but Leon, you're like one of the first guys that ever came out. You know, I mean, I'm going back early 2000s. You know, you've been
Yeah.
for the long haul. You know, you haven't disappeared. You haven't gone away. Look at Light
I'm
Attack.
still here.
What happened to Light Attack? There's other laser companies I could talk about that came out. And just basically vaporized. I mean, you've been here for a long haul.
In the hot and heavy when RDNet was cranking out. I think we had 7. We had Laser Defender, Laser Protector, Laser Mimic, Laser. I mean, it was every laser thing they could throw at us.
Yeah, and they all went away.
They've all come and gone.
Yeah.
A couple make them to, you know, we've been to SEMA. I'm sitting in my office here at the house, and I still have a couple pictures from the Fireball run up, and I think that was back in
That was 2007.
2007. Yeah, back in the day.
All right, this is a comment from Erwin Solino. Where's the best place to find out where laws are about owning a laser jammer? Well, hopefully at radarbusters.com.
I would say that I would go there.
And guys, if there's something, I mean, we're going to try to answer your questions. If we don't get your question here and you think it's, something important that, you really want to know, please email us. Because this is where we come up with, content for my website. We come up with ideas of doing videos and stuff like that. So, send me their questions. I mean, I'm just amazed. I mean, I'm just going to share this with you real quick. I mean, look at all the questions we got. I probably got well over, 1,500 questions in this queue right here. How easy is it they'll take about another 2 or 3 questions and we'll bail out of here, announce the winner. How difficult is it to install a laser jammer, the Blinder yourself, Leon?
Myself, I'm not doing it. I don't like to do it. It's not my gig. But there's a lot of guys out there that love working on their cars on the weekend, love running. I mean, the hardest thing to do is running the wire. That's it. Yeah. The head placement is, again, get to the front of the car, like you said, you want to split the car into equal parts. And each head is going to cover its equal part. The wiring through the firewall, power and ground. You put your speaker and your LED where you want it, and that's it. I've seen every different kind of install known to mankind. Okay, I've seen them inside. I've seen them outside. I've seen them. It just depends on how custom
you want to do it. And again, I just posted a link in the chat box for this article right in here. It goes into quite a bit of detail exactly. I got a video here where I walk you through the process. If you don't feel comfortable, I recommend that you basically call up your nearest Best Buy store. They've been really good for our customers. I've seen them charge anywhere from $125 up to about $500 for a typical install. That's what I've been hearing. Again, I just call them up, say, hey, what's it going to cost me? Call around and find out. But Best Buy has been real good. I in 2007, we used to sell. I know you did too, Leon. We used to sell those install cards. So you buy a blinder, and you know for another $50, you get the install card. The problem with that
Right.
install card, that was only part of your install, and the installer really only got like maybe $10 out of that $50 card. So they jack your card, you know, the cost of your install up another 40 or $50. So bottom line, guys, you know, I'm not going to go into selling you an overpriced, overmarketed install card. Um, you know, and just pick up the phone, call Best Buy, stop in. That most of them have 12-volt installers. It's
Just local. I find that the local shops, not a lot of them have made it because of the economy, but I saw a lot of shops come and go.
okay.
But you find a local shop in your local area that you trust working and leaving your car, these guys can do the install without any problem.
This is a very common question that I'm asked, Leon, and it's from Timothy Kennedy. Does the blinder work or interface with any brand of radar detector? So if I have a radar detector, will it work with my radar detector?
There's no interference. It'll work right alongside of, Escort Bell, Valentine, probably the top three um, radar detectors. It works right alongside your radar detector. I suggest run a top of the line radar detector with your laser jammer, because just as much as they're using more and more laser,
Uh-huh.
radar was where it all started. So they all still have radar in the cars. They're still running Ka pretty heavy.
Okay. All right. Let's just let me try to find a really good question here to close it off, and then Leon will have you pick out who the winner is.
Right, I got to tell you, man. I mean, I think this is awesome.
Well,
I think it'll.
and again, if this is something that the our audience enjoys, I could see. I mean, we got Leon. I can't tell you how many questions. You're going to be busy, Leon.
I
Uh,
think,
I'm going to be giving you this. I'm going to be giving
that's
you this spreadsheet here, and you can.
that's what I enjoy about blinder eggs, and I know you enjoy it too. I mean, I know the interaction with the community, the interaction with your customers. I know that's what drove Radar Busters.
Oh yeah, and again, I'm just a little bit. I when I sold Radar Busters in 2007, I went in. We started a internet marketing company, and we were doing that for a number of years. And I recently released all of that to my ex-partner from that company, and now I'm strictly 100% of my time is now devoted to Radar Busters. So we're not involved in any other company, or as far as running another company, so I can focus all my attention here. This is the last question. I think it's a really, really good question. And I'll ask you the question. I'll find his name again. Um, Question is, what type of warranty comes with a blinder? And do you offer any kind of ticket rebate or anything like that in case I do get a ticket and using your thing?
That's a great question. The warranty, like I said, I mean, people think, oh, you got to have an RMA. I mean, I don't have enough return products to even have an RMA system. It's ridiculous. It's great for me because I mean, these things, they come out and they work really well. So the warranty is 2 years.
Yeah.
I guarantee you call me down the line and it's a legitimate issue that you're having, we'll walk through it. I don't leave anybody. I want somebody leaving blinder knowing that they can drive down the road and their system is the best it can be. So the warranty that I deal with directly. That's what I like to. If someone's having a problem, those phone calls, those emails, they come directly to me.
And
The speeding ticket guarantee. I did create a speeding ticket guarantee way back when. It didn't go over very well with the boys in Denmark, but in the U.S. we have other jammers out there that also provided a speeding ticket guarantee. So I figured, yeah, it's a good marketing, and you know, I need to guarantee the product.
Okay.
I think the last tickets I paid were probably the two guys in Boca Raton that I know what they did. I know they were out there doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, called street racing, and they got busted. And Boca's about an hour south of me,
Yeah.
and I know the shop, and it was probably 2002, and I paid both those boys tickets, but those are the last. I mean, I don't even get a phone call, even a question about it.
I want to address that a little bit too. Now, that question was from Chris Jenkins, if you want to write that down, Leon. Because again, you know, as the questions come in, you're jotting down names and you're going to go through that list, and I don't know how you're going to select the winner is. You know, I don't envy you for that, but you know, one thing, you know, unlike some of the other companies out there like Rocky Mountain Radar, that, you know, have a ticket rebate, you pay the full price of the ticket. You know, you don't pay like, oh, okay, I can subtract this and pay out $2, you know, so.
The actual paperwork is, I'll give you 25 miles an hour over the posted speed limit. That's more than enough. Again, it's not the blinder doesn't, it's not a license to speed. We'll pay the price of the ticket. Again, I mean, I could see the screen and I could see some of the names that are coming up, and I can tell you half those guys have called and said, thank you, this thing really does work.
Oh yeah.
And once you see it work, it's a whole different. I mean that's where I get my kicks, is seeing these guys going, I can hit any other car on the street, but I can't hit that car. You know, that's what makes my day.
Okay, just before Leon, go through your list there real quick, and you know, figure out who you want to go out and be, you know, and then we'll close it out with you. Just kind of recap a couple things that, you know, I mentioned at the beginning of this call, guys. I'm back. Those of you might have tuned in late, you go, okay, what's Radar Roy doing here now? I recently, here 3 weeks ago, we took back RadarBusters.com from Hayneedle. I'm running this full time now, and this is our new website. Really like to welcome you to it. Check it out. Those of you who are on the call, we do have, I can't tell you what detectors or stuff that you're going to get a discount on, but all I could say are they are selected, and selected covers a wide, vast area. Okay. All you need to do is put your name and email address, and you can get 10% off selected radar detectors. We have a lot of help guides here on our website. Guys, in all honesty, I can't, Leon, in the last 6 weeks, you know, I put this website together and it's still growing. And I'll check my Facebook now. Radar Detector Net is going to be relaunching here, probably here in about another 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to get that back up and running. Those of you that might be interested in being a moderator or an admin, shoot me out an email. I just need some sort of commitment from you. And I'll give you a commitment back that you're going to make a little bit of money. And I'll explain how that's all going to work. You know, the more time you invest in the radardetector.net forum, helping people, and things like that, you know, there'll be some financial rewards for you. Our Facebook page, we're going to be doing some updates on the Facebook page. I know we got a bunch of other questions on there that's come in, but we weren't able to do that. And I know we're running about 8 minutes over, Leon. So, Leon, you want to go through your little list there and announce who the winner is?
Now I'm going to have to stay Blinder Dude if you're going to bring RD.net back. I mean, I was Blinder Dude there, so I guess it's.
Yeah, so I guess
it's
I call you back.
Stay Blinder Dude, man.
All right. So, Leon, who's the winner tonight?
Oh man, it's got a scratch pad full of. I don't know if it was the furthest away, but it's probably the least interesting. It's got to be Boise, Idaho, man.
Boise, Idaho.
Have you ever been to Boise, Idaho?
Yes, I have.
I have never been to Boise. I want to. This guy, he needs either an invite to Arizona or to Florida, one or the other.
Okay.
Hey, what the hell's in Boise, Idaho?
Well, it's a really nice place.
Tom Malone is in Boise, Idaho, and I'll ship him out a duel tomorrow morning.
Okay, Tom, do me a favor. Email me your. I'm assuming Tom is still on the call. Tom, email me direct at radarroy@radarbusters.com.
It's not Tom Malone. It's Tom Powers.
Tom Powers.
Tom
Okay.
Powers.
Okay, you wrote the name down wrong, huh? Okay, it's a Tom that lives in Boise, Idaho.
It's a Tom that lives in Boise, Idaho.
It's,
I have.
and there's a Tom Malone and a Tom Powers. We'll figure it out. Tom, send me an email, radarroy@radarbusters.com. Give me your email address. Of course, I get that. And your shipping address. Hey guys, I really want to thank everybody for being on the call tonight. If this is something you'd like to see more often, please shoot us an email. I will have a replay of this available here probably within the next 48 hours on the website. Please share this with your friends. Let's get this involved. Let's get this going. I really want to build a community up again where people are going to be involved, that we're going to be out here helping you. We're going to get more of Leon online, the Vail guy, Escort, anybody we can get from the industry on this that we possibly can. Hey guys, please remember, first off, I want to thank everybody for being on the call, and please remember, please drive safe, please drive smart, and most of all, please drive protected. This is Radar Roy from radarbusters.com. Everybody have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you, buddy.